The stars are right, and that means it's time for another episode of The Whisper in Darkness. I'm your host, the Man from Ling. Thank you very much for joining me today. On this episode, we are continuing with our campaign with Mark Harrigan, the soldier from the Path to Carcosa Deluxe expansion. We are picking it up at extracurricular activity. We did make one change to our deck since the last game. We replaced the 2 copies of Beat Cop with 2 copies of Brother Xavier, the ally from the Miskatonic Museum, and we have 2 experience points remaining. We are continuing on with extracurricular activity. As you may remember, in The House Always Wins, the O'Banion gang has a bone to pick with Mark Harrigan, and Dr. Francis Morgan was kidnapped. So we are beginning from there. We are set up and ready to go here. We have Mark Harrigan here with Sophie and his weakness indebted, so he will start the game with 2 fewer resources. He starts in play here at the Miskatonic Quad, which is a 3-shroud location with 0 clues, and it has the game text resign. We can't find rice anywhere. You leave the campus hoping Armitage will forgive you. Our agenda is Quiet Halls. It has a doom threshold of 7, and our act is After Hours, and we will need 3 clues in order to advance. We are playing extracurricular activity on standard difficulty. The skulls are -1, and if you fail, discard the top 3 cards of your deck. The cultist is a -1, -3 instead, if there are 10 or more cards in your discard pile. And the elder thing is -X. Discard the top 2 cards of your deck. X is the total printed cost of those discarded cards. Mark Harrigan did not cheat in The House Always Wins, so there is no Elder Thing token in the bag that we have to worry about. I think we're ready to draw our opening hand. I think what's going to happen here is I don't think Mark's investigation is strong enough to save the students. Maybe. I mean, it all depends on how things go. But I think ideally we'll be looking to take down the experiment. The big bad here, he's got 4 combat. He'll have 10 health and 2 agility, and he is massive. And when the enemy phase begins, we ready him, and he will do 2 health and 2 sanity damage, and he's worth 2 victory points. So our goal will be to take him down. We are ready to draw our opening hand. Let's see what we get. There is a Colt, a 32 Colt. That's nice. An emergency cache. Brother Xavier. A shortcut. And there's our weakness, Shell Shock. So we will pitch that away and get a new card. There is a Perception. Well, that's a pretty... it's a pretty solid opening hand, I think. We could use the Perception and certainly use Brother Xavier as well as the 32 Colt. So I think we will stick with this hand for the time being. We are ready to take our opening turn, so we will discard the emergency cache for 3 resources. We're going to use 5 of them to play Brother Xavier. And then we have 2 actions left. I'd like to get my 32 Colt down before I start to investigate anywhere because of the thralls that appear at locations with clues. It's easier. This scenario is quite a bit easier if you don't have clues on the table. So I am simply going to gain 2 resources. Actually, I'm going to draw a card and gain 1 resource. So we get a guts and a resource out of that. We will draw a card. There's an emergency aid. That'll be very helpful if we need to use Sophie at all. We'll gain a resource. Add a doom, and we will draw our first encounter card of the game, which is, well, Don't waste any time there, do we? Beyond the Veil. That will surge, and that will eventually kill us. Actually, we could survive it. Between Brother Xavier and Mark Harrigan's health, we could survive a Beyond the Veil if it does trigger. But that does surge into another Beyond the Veil, which will surge into a Visions of Futures Past. Test 5 willpower. For each point we fail by, we discard a card from the top of our deck. Fortunately, we did get Brother Xavier down that opening turn, so we have a 4, and I will pitch the guts to give us a 6. So we are going 6 versus 5. We'll draw from the Chaos bag, which is a cultist. That's a -1, so we do pass the check, and we do not have to discard any cards. We do get a card, though, for the guts, which is an unexpected courage. All right, very interesting. Let's get down that. We will pay 3 to get our Colt down. It has 6 ammo. It's awfully nice. It doesn't give us a combat bonus, but it does give us the +1 damage, which is often more important. We are on a bit of a timer now with Beyond the Veil out on the first turn. So I think we are going to get moving here. We will use our second action to move to the Humanities building. It is a 3-shroud location with 2 clues, and it has the forced effect. At the end of your turn, if you are in the Humanities building, discard the top X cards of your deck, where X is the amount of horror on you. We have not taken any horror as of yet, so that is not an issue. We are going to have to hit up Sophie, though, if we want to pass this skill test. So we will take a damage. We will draw a card with Mark Harrigan's ability. There's another 32 Colt. We will pitch the perception, so we're adding 4 to our intellect of 2, so it'll be a 6 versus 3. Let's see how we do there. We get a -1, so we do discover a clue, and we do get a card from the perception, which is an evidence. Well, that will definitely help us if we draw one of those thralls now, for sure. That will be the end of our turn. We will draw a card. There's a dodge. That's going to be very helpful. And we will gain a resource. Add a doom, and our encounter card will be the Whippoorwills. Caw, the Whippoorwills have shown up. Now, that is fine by me. We are a 4 versus 2 against the Whippoorwills. And we do have an evidence that we can play to discover a clue if we defeat an enemy. So I am going to use my first action to engage the Whippoorwills. I am a 4 versus 2 because of the Whippoorwills' negative modifier. I'm going to stick with 4 versus 2. We'll draw from the Chaos bag. Oh, there's an Elder Son. There is the tentacle, of course. They do not have retaliate, so we don't have to worry about that, but we will attack them again. That's a -2. So we were 4 versus 2. That is a success. So the Whippoorwills will die, and we are going to play our evidence, which is fast, to discover a clue at our location. Very nice. And that will be our turn. So we will draw a card. There's a flashlight. That's going to come in handy. Gain a resource. And add a doom. Our next encounter card is... oh, there's the Wizard. The Wizard of Yog-Sothoth shows up. Fair enough. All right. What are we going to do about this guy? He is worth a victory point, which is, I'm never sad to see that. We are only a 5 versus 4 against him, though, because we have the 32 Colt. It'd almost be better if we had our machete to deal with this guy. However, we do have another 32 Colt in our hand. I'm not sure I want to discard that, though. We're going to pitch our unexpected courage. We'll make ourselves a 7 versus 4. We are going to shoot him with the Colt. So we're going to go 7 versus 4. Oh, that's a failure. Ouch. Ouch. Not good. All right. We are going to shoot him again. I guess we'll just go 5 versus 4. This guy could be tougher. There's a skull. That is -1, so we do hit him. And we will shoot him one more time. Alright, 5 versus 4. Not great odds, but we get a 0. Whew! He takes another 2 damage, and we will add him to our victory display. Okay. Draw a card, gain a resource, and add a doom. And our encounter card this turn is the Hand of Afargomon. You must attach it to either the current agenda or act. Limit 1 per agenda or act, and you treat all damage as direct damage and all horror as direct horror. We will put it on... I believe we'll throw it on our act for now. We can move. We can use our shortcut to move up to Orne Library. Or we can put our flashlight down. Let's do that. We're going to play our flashlight as our first action. It has 3 supply. We will use our shortcut to move up to Orne Library. And it is a 3 shroud location with 1 clue. We are going to investigate using our flashlight to reduce its shroud value to 1. And we are also going to use Sophie to add a damage. And we'll draw a card. There is an If It Bleeds. That's pretty good. Help us heal some horror if we take any. And so we are going 4 versus 1 at the Orne Library. We get a +1. So we do succeed there. Very nice. Things are going well so far. And that means we can advance the act. So we will discard those 3 clues. We will discard the Hand of Afargomon and flip this. We have the Head Janitor. We shuffle the encounter discard pile and the set aside Jazz Mulligan into the encounter deck. We have Jazz Mulligan right here. We will shuffle all those into the deck, as well as these. And we need to put our Act 2A into play, which is Rice's Whereabouts. That is the one where we can spend a clue to discard the top 5 cards of the encounter deck, top 10 instead if there is 1 player in the game, And once we discard Jazz Mulligan, we resolve the revelation effect on him. And if we take control of Jazz, then we can flip Rice's whereabouts. That was the end of our turn. We will draw a card. There's another Brother Xavier. Gain a resource and add a doom. We are at 5 out of 7. Draw our encounter card. There's the Hand of Raphargomon again. Very well. We'll just throw that on the agenda this time, since it's probably going to advance before our act will. Very well. We can... we will move twice, move to Miskatonic Quad and down to the Students' Union building. And we'll flip it over. It is a one-shroud location with 2 clues. And it has the forced effect: after the Student Union is revealed, put the set-aside dormitories into play. So we will bring those over. And we can take double action to heal 1 damage or 1 horror, sorry. So that's pretty nice. If we're in a good position, we might end up using that just to heal some of the damage off Mark Harrigan, so we can keep using Sophie. That was our 2 actions. We have 1 more. I think what we will do is investigate using our flashlight. And do we hit up Sophie again? It'd be a 2 versus 0. I don't think so. I think we'll just go 2 versus 0 and see how we do. We get a 0. Fair enough. So we do gain 1 clue there. Okay. I just want to send this to back so I can see we're at 5. We will draw a card. There's our True Grit. Again, this might, you know, between the True Grit, Brother Xavier, and if we can get Jazz Mulligan, we could survive a Beyond the Veil strike, which would be something. We will gain a resource. Throw a doom up there and draw an encounter card. That will be Eager for Death, Test 2. Increase the skill test difficulty by 2 or by 1 for each damage on you. Ah, this strikes right at Mark's Achilles heel. Fortunately, we are a 4. And this thing will be a 4. I don't really want to discard anything at this time, though. I could hit up Sophie. 2 horror isn't the end of the world. Although it is direct horror, which isn't great. 4 versus 4. Not great odds. I think we'll just do it, though. 4 versus 4. And we get an Elder Sign. Holy cow, we're pulling horseshoes out of our ass today. That's +2 because he's got 2 damage on him. So we sail past that. There is 1 clue left on the Students' Union building. So we will use our flashlight for the final time to make that a 0. We will go 2 versus 0. That's a skull. That will be a -1. So we pass and we get that clue. Now we can use the action on Rice's whereabouts to discard the top 10 cards of the deck. So we will do that once. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So no Jazz Mulligan in that bunch. Let's discard the other clue. 1, 2, there's Jazz. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we got rid of, I think we saw 3 ancient evils hit the discard pile there. Jazz will be in play at the Students' Union building. So we need to make a parlay test 3 intellect in order to take control of Jazz. That will be a little tricky for Mark Harrigan to do. Do we have any icons? We have an emergency aid, but I'm going to be playing that. That will be about it. So we will have to use Sophie in order to pass this test. That was our turn. So we draw a card. There's our Shell Shock. For every 2 damage on you, take a horror. Fine. I will take a horror. And it gets discarded. Shell Shock isn't certainly I don't think it's the worst weakness, especially if you play a little conservatively and you keep your damage total under control. It shouldn't drive you insane. We need to add a resource, and we will advance our act. So we will flip we will flip to Something Stirs. Each investigator with 5 or more cards in his or her discard pile takes 1 horror. If you've got 10, you take 2. This I believe the Light of Afargomon is still attached to the current agenda, even if it's flipped. So that will be a direct horror, which is fine. And now we will discard it. And if the players have completed the House Always Wins, we advance directly to Agenda 2B. So we will do that now. We will flip over Dread of Night, if it will flip for me. Come on, flip. There we go. And the experiment gone wrong. If the dormitory's location is not in play, put it into play. If the experiment is in play, move it 1 toward the dormitories. If it is not in play, spawn it in the science building. So the experiment spawns in the science building, and we advance to the Beast Unleashed, which is a 2 Doom location, and when it advances, you simply move the experiment over 1 space toward the dormitories. So now the question is, can we kill the experiment? He's a 4. We are just a 5. We sort of need our machete if we want to take this guy down. So we do have some time. We will draw an encounter card first, though, which is a Thrall. That is nice. There are no clues anywhere, so we can put the Thrall anywhere. It can go in the administration building because we have no plans on going there. How do we do this now? Do we throw out another gun? Do we try to take control of Jazz? Do we heal the damage? I think first of all, I'm going to heal some damage with emergency aid. That'll be 2 damage off Mark. And then I'm going to draw a couple cards. There's a Vicious Blow. That's going to help. And there's our Prepared for the Worst Okay, that is going to be handy because I do want to find a machete so we can cut this this experiment down as fast as we can. We will get another card. There's a guts and a resource. We add a doom and draw an encounter card, which is another eager for death. Okay, but we're in a slightly better position this time to deal with this one since we are a 4 versus 2. We've got no damage on us, so we can just do 4 versus 2 straight up. Chaos Bag says a -1. Very nice. We pass, no problem. Alright, I am going to use my first action to play my Prepared for the Worst. Search the top 9 cards of my deck. There's the machete we want. I believe we actually had to discard a card there. I'm going to pitch the If It Bleeds. Actually, I'm not going to pitch that. Yeah, we'll pitch the If It Bleeds. Okay, so we do get our machete. We will spend 3 resources to play our machete. Get rid of our flashlight. Alright, we are set up to take this guy down. We have 11 cards left in our deck. So I think we will... That was our 3 actions. So what we need... We do have a dodge. And we do have Brother Xavier to help us, if necessary, absorb some damage from the experiment. So I think we're in pretty good shape. Okay, that was our 3rd action. We will draw a card. There is a perception. We will gain a resource and add a doom, which will advance the Beast Unleashed, but we simply remove the doom and move the experiment to the Miskatonic Quad. And we will draw an encounter card. Ooh, don't like this one. Choose one of the following: asset, event, or skill. Discard of the chosen card type. Okay, this is a good question. We want to keep the event. So we need to discard asset. If we discard asset, we keep the dodge, the vicious blow. Yeah, it's got to be asset. So we pitch the 32, our spare copy of Brother Xavier, and our True Grit. Okay, this is an interesting question. Do we go after him now without... We could use Jazz Mulligan's extra health, or we just go after the experiment now. We could do 2, 4, 5 damage. Yeah, we're just going to go after the experiment. We're not going to waste time. We'll move up. We will attack him with our machete. We will discard the vicious blow. So we are a 5, 6, 7 versus 4. Chaos Bag says that's a skull. That's a -1, so we do pass. So the experiment will take 3 damage. And we will attack again. We are going to use Sophie to boost ourselves by 2 and draw a card. There's an emergency aid. That's nice to have. So we boost ourselves by an additional 2, so we are 5, 6, 7, 8 versus 4. Chaos Bag says -2. So we will add another 2 damage. The experiment is going to attack us, which is okay because we do have the dodge. We will simply cancel its attack for this turn. And we will gain a card. There's our smoking pipe and a resource. Add a doom and we will draw an encounter card. What will we get this time? There's a thrall. Again, no clues on the table, so the thrall can hang out with its buddy here in the administration building. That's pretty nice. We need to hit this guy 3 times. So we will add a damage and draw a card. We get a shortcut. Actually, that's very nice because massive enemies don't move with you. So I could play the shortcut basically as an extra copy of dodge if I don't kill him. So we added a damage to add to our combat. So we are a 5, 6, 7, 8 versus 4. And the Chaos Bag says that's a -2, so he takes 2 damage. We will add another damage to do it again. 8 versus 4. It's a -1. That's 2 damage. And why not? One more time. 8 versus 4. Do we take down the experiment? -1. Experiment's dead. Dead, dead, dead. Goodbye, experiment. We cut him down like a... I don't know. We just kill him. We hack him apart. Chop him into little bits. Save the students. Everyone is a hero. And we will add him to our victory display. And we had 7 cards left in our deck. So we did manage to beat the timer on Beyond the Veil. Well, that was a pretty smooth playthrough. The only time I was really concerned was when the Wizard of Yogg-Sothoth came out. I wasn't too sure if I'd be able to take him down. Luckily, we did draw some nice encounter cards there. We did draw some good pulls from the Chaos Bag, and we were able to get out. So if you kill the experiment, advance to Act 3B. So we do advance to Act 3B. And that will give us Resolution R3. Yeah, overall very smooth. We did beat the Beyond the Veil timer, and we didn't run into too much trouble. I think we only had the 1 tentacle all game, and we end up earning 2 experience for that, 1 for him, and 1 for the Orn Library. So that'll be 4 experience. Very nice. Yeah, I really quite like Mark Harrigan. Sophie's quite fun to play around with, and we were never in much danger there, so awesome. That's going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this playthrough, I'd appreciate it if you could leave me a thumbs up. It helps out the channel a great deal. If you'd like to chat about this great game, please leave a comment down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to be notified of when I release future content. If you'd like to contact me, I can be reached at manfromleng@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter at manfromleng. Until the stars are right, keep your shotgun close and your elder sign closer. Take care out there, and happy investigating.